Okay, hello, this is Con Emmanuel, and today I just want to show a quick video on how to create slides using Photoshop. So first thing you need to do is create a folder on your desktop like I have, and this one's called Red Sonja, which is the theme of today's demo. And then I will direct you to go to my blog. Now if you don't remember the blog, it's conartist.me, and once you get to my blog, you'll be able to go to the tutorial tab and just go down to where it says slide design tutorial, and you click on that. Now this is the finished slide. This is what it's going to look like, and it's an Adam Hughes is a comic book artist. Adam Hughes has created this Red Sonja artwork, so we're going to create a slide that looks like that. And all we have to do is download the source files. So we're just going to right click them, and we're going to save link as, which will save the high res version of the file. Save link as to your desktop folder, the one that you created earlier. So there it is, Red Sonja. Click on save, keep scrolling, save link as, and it's already there, Red Sonja. Click on save. So these are all the source files that you need to download first before we begin. So there's flaky paint, there's a grunge, there's a logo, and then of course there is the lovely Red Sonja herself. Alright, so there's 5 files in total. So once you've done that, we can go and open up Photoshop. Now, once you're in Photoshop, you need to create a new canvas that is for the screen. So we go and click on the web up here. Now you'll see there's some default settings already there, but we don't want any of these. We want to actually type in our own dimensions. So where it says width, can I get you to type in 800? And then where it says height, 600. Now this is your standard screen dimensions. 800 by 600 pixels, landscape of course, and you can see 72 dots per inch is the default, and RGB color. So once you've done that, click on create, and we're ready now to create a lovely series of, I'll just zoom in a bit like that, that's better. A lovely series of slides that we're going to create in Photoshop and then export them into PowerPoint. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new layer. So you can go Command J or just click on the new layer icon in the layer palette. And with the new layer, we're just going to change the color to a sort of a muddy green, something like that. I think, yeah, any sort of light muddy green will be fine. And then to apply that color, we just go Command Delete on our keyboard. Sorry, Option Delete. Sorry, my mistake. Option Delete will apply the foreground color. So that's the first thing. Then we go and open up the files that we downloaded from my blog. So we go to File and Open, and we go to the desktop, of course, because that's where the folder lives. And the first image or file that we're going to open is the grunge texture. So you select that, click on Open, and here's how it works. We're going to copy and paste this texture into our slide design. So we just go Command A for Select All, Command C for copy, we can close that now, we don't need that file, and Command V for paste. And you'll notice when you paste it, it's actually bigger than the 800 by 600 canvas. So we can either move it around like that to the desired position, or we can go Command T on our keyboard, and with the Shift key pressed, we can go Shift and press and drag to resize it. Shift drag. So you can do that, might have the screws showing, and then press on the return key to enter it. Alright, now this texture, this grunge texture, is actually sitting in layer 3 above our green background. So what I'll do next is I'm going to choose a layer effect. Something like multiply will give us that effect, and something like overlay will give us that effect. Now if you want to darken it, you can go and open up levels, Command L, and of course you've got these little levers here which lets you darken the texture, the midtones or highlight. It's up to you. So you can do it that way using levels, or if you want to, you can also use the dodge and burn tool. Now, dodging and burning, dodging will lighten an area. So if you start clicking over an area with the dodge, should lighten it. Let me just see. Oh yeah, you can sort of see it's lightening some of the pixels there. And of course the burn tool will do the exact opposite. It'll darken an area. So you can use dodge and burn sparingly. Alright, so that's our first texture applied. Now we go and open up our second texture, which is of the one called flaky paint. So open that, and once again select all, copy, Command C, close the window and paste. And once again, this is bigger than what we need, so I might just reposition it. I can go Shift and drag and then press the return key to accept it. Now this time I'm going to use a mask, and the mask that I use, it's not just clicking on the mask tool and you get a white mask. I'm actually going to hold down the Option key and then click on the mask icon in the layer window, and this time I get a black mask. Now once you have created this black mask using the Option key, whatever you paint in the mask area will make the flaky paint texture appear. Now this is how it works. If I go to my paintbrush tool, I need to select white paint, and then whatever I paint in the masking area will reveal the flaky paint texture. I don't know if you can see that. Now that's obviously not the desired result, because what you want to do is set up your brush first. I don't want a hard round brush, I want a soft round brush, and you can get that from the general brush settings. Soft round brush, no hardness, and I can also, if I want to, I can make the size bigger. Now with a soft round brush, where are we? Sorry, soft round brush, I also need to reduce the opacity. Now the opacity is up here. I'm going to make it 16% or 17%. And now when I start painting with low opacity, I can gradually paint in the same area and reveal as much or as less of the texture as I want. It's a nice little technique this, because if I just keep painting over the same spot, the opacity gets greater and more flaky paint begins to reveal. Now of course, if I overdo it and I'm just dragging my mouse over the same area, choosing how much flaky paint texture to reveal, but if I decide that I've overdone it and I want to sort of hide some of it, I just have to change my color to black. So white paint will reveal the flaky paint texture as long as I'm painting in the mask, and of course black paint will hide it again. So that's something interesting to know. Alright, so I just go a bit more, and if this has taken too long, you can always increase the opacity. So if you want to speed it up, just make it 50% opacity, and of course there's some nice lovely flaky paint. Lovely. Alright, so assuming that's done, I can now go and bring in my other image, and this time I will open up the Red Sonja girl. Here she is. And once again, select all, copy, close the window and paste. Now I've got to reduce her in size because she's way too big for what I want. So I'm just going to go Command T and then Shift and drag with my mouse, and I'll just position it over here. Now what I'd like to do is get rid of her background. I just want the girl and not the background. So I'm going to use a tool called the Quick Selection tool. And I'm just going to start from the top of the head and drag my mouse, no keys required, just the mouse, drag my mouse around her body, and I will select everything that I can possibly grab with the Quick Selection tool. And I'm not too bothered if I can't grab everything, because I'm going to show you how to fine-tune this in a few seconds. So that looks like I've got most of it. Alright, so the Quick Selection tool has done its job. Now this is where you can fine-tune it. You can refine the selection. but I'm not going to use the current setting for select and mask. What I would normally do is click on select and mask, and then it takes a while to adjust. I can also go to the select menu and choose it from here. But if I do that, what I get is this window, which for some reason isn't working. Okay, why did that not work? Sorry about that. Something's gone missing. All right, so let me just get rid of that. Let me try this other technique. I don't know why that didn't work. I'm going to hold down my shift key, and now I'll go and choose select and mask from the select menu. That's what I want. All right. Now, here I can refine the edge simply by changing the setting here to on white. So here you can go to all these different settings, on black, on white. And now if I drag my mouse around the edge of her body, anything that wasn't picked up with the quick selection tool will now be selected. So you don't have to do big drags, just do tiny drags. Sometimes it works really well, and other times it picks up more pixels than required. But I'll show you how to clean that up as well. So that whole area, that's not bad. Now around here, there's a few stray hairs, just around the pouch here, and just around here to finish it off. Okay, and I'll just clean this area here as well. All right, so what I don't want is these extra pixels that it's picked up just around here, so I can adjust the contrast and shift the edge slightly, just so it looks a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to tweak these settings. That'll do. I can always rub that out later. A bit more. Okay, good. So I'm going to click OK. And what that gives me is I'll just zoom out again. It's a more refined selection, which means now I can inverse the selection from the select menu, and I can simply press the delete key on my keyboard, and that will get rid of the background and just leave the girl, which is what I want. That's perfect. All right, now once you've done the masking of the girl, we can now move to opening up the logo, the Red Sonja logo. And this is pretty easy. All I'm going to do here is I just want to select the red letters. So I'm just going to go and switch to the magic wand tool. And watch this. I'm going to click on the letter R with the magic wand. Of course, it does select it. And then I'm going to go to the select menu and just tell Photoshop, can you select everything that's similar to that first selection? In other words, can you select anything else that's red on the screen? And sure enough, it's picked up all the other red letters. So once again, I can go Command-C for copy, close the window, Command-V for paste, Command-T for transform. You can see there's a sequence of steps now that I'm just repeating. And I can reduce it in size. I'm going to whack it over here, Red Sonja, just there, and then press the Enter key or the Return key to accept it. And now I want to show you how to beef up this logo, just to give it a bit of oomph. So over here where the layer is, layer 6, I'm going to double click the layer, just in the grey area, double click it here. And that'll bring up a window for blending options. Now these are like special effects for text. And the first thing I'll do is I'll click on stroke. And you can see straight away there's a black stroke that appears around the red letters. But I'm going to change the settings here from inside to outside. And I'll change the colour from black to white. And I can also make the size a bit bigger. So that's the first thing. It does improve it somewhat, makes it stand out from the background. Then I'll go to outer glow, and this time I will change the blending mode to normal. I'll change the colour to black, and I'll muck around here with the size and the spread. Now you can see what's happening. And I might even bring up the opacity all the way. Maybe that size was too big. There you go. And now I've got two outlines, a white one and a black one. And depending on how sharp I want that, or how blurry I want it, I can move the spread dial up or down. So, okay, that's good. And lastly, I need to open up the comic book cover itself. And this is pretty easy. I just want the whole cover. So Command A, Command C, close the window and paste. And I'll just reduce that in size. Command T for transform, Shift and drag. And I'll just pop that over here. And you know what? That's it. That's the completed final screen design created in layers using Photoshop. Now, once you've done that, it's time to export these as a series of JPEG files. And it's going to create like a build in Photoshop. So this is how you do it. You close all the layers except for the grunge one. So we're going to start with the grunge layer. You can even start with the plain green one, but I'll start with the grunge. And once you've got the grunge layer texture revealed, you then go to File, and you go to Export, and then to Save for Web. The keyboard shortcut, and get this, is Command, Option, Shift, and S. It's a big one, but remember that. So you can click on Save for Web, and just make sure when this comes up that up here it says JPEG. And down the bottom, just remember it's 800 by 600 pixels. And then, if you can just see the window, which I can't, let me just see if I can change the settings. Oh, jeez. Let me just do something, because I've got to change this dock, because it's hiding. Options. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that either. Force quit. Excuse me, I'll just have to troubleshoot for a sec. Jeez, having all sorts of problems now. Alright, so I clicked on the Save button. I don't know what happened before, but you click on the Save button and you go to your desktop folder, Red Sonja, and I'm just going to create a new folder within that called Save for Web. Save for Web. And inside that folder, I will create my first slide. So I'm just going to call this slide 1. Alright, then once you've saved your first JPEG, you can reveal more layers one at a time. So here's the flaky paint. Go back to Export, back to Save for Web. Click on Save. And this time we're going to call this slide 2. And you continue until you finish all the layers. So again, Export, Save for Web, slide 3, and I think you get the drift now. Logo, Save for Web, slide 4, and lucky last is going to be the cover. And this, of course, is slide number 5. So I have just exported each layer as a JPEG. 5 different slides. I can now, if I want to, I can save, I should really save the master file as well. Red Sonja master file. And I'll just save it as Red Sonja master, PSD, into the same folder, just in case I want to come back one day and make changes. And then I can quit Photoshop, and in part 2 I will show you how to import that into PowerPoint. So thank you for watching part 1.